The first thing I want to do is I want to tell you a little story about a client. I had a client who asked me to come and review their office professional processes, the productivity of their staff. And she had a computer staffing company. Is this a little loud?
No,
Okay.
it's good.
It sounds loud to me. She had a computer staffing company that had about 50 people out in the field where she was sending out people rent a computer staffer. And she had about 5 people in her office. And she wanted to find out why they were being inefficient, according to her. And so I went out there and I interviewed the staff people, talked to the accounts payable, the accounts receivable, the payroll people, and looked at their processes. She was using an accounting software to input her data, but as I interviewed with the people, I found out in addition to that, she was also having all of the same staff enter that data into an Excel spreadsheet every day so that she could get a picture of her current position. So as I went through all this process and interviewed everybody, I realized that her people were doing the work twice. They were putting it all in the data entry software, doing the data entry for the software program, and they were also listing all that information in Excel so she could have a current cash position, some idea about where she was every day. And I realized that it's because she didn't realize that keeping up her accounting system would give her the data that she needed in real time. If she was letting her people do the accounting process in the accounting package and get the data in real time and keep it current, she'd have all that information that she needed, but she didn't realize that. So she was making them do double work. And I think she was not really impressed with me when I gave her that answer. That's us. So the point of the story is, what is the purpose of keeping your financial stuff organized anyway? Hold on, I'm going through my routine here. What is the point of having that financial data in keeping it current and keeping it up to date? Why do we not do that? Well, we hate doing it. Even as an accountant, I didn't think it was a whole lot of fun. And most small business owners think that it's annoying, right? It's the last thing on the list you want to do. So this is one of the reasons that you don't keep it current, because like, who can be bothered, right? Sometimes small business owners don't feel like they know what they're doing. This isn't your area of expertise. Not everybody walks up to the table with a great understanding of accounting. And so while you're an expert in your specific business, whatever you do, you're the local guru in relationship to your stuff, accounting may not be your thing. So you feel like you don't know what you're doing. And it makes you resistant and reluctant to come and work on it again. I hear this a lot from people. It's time for real work. It's true in the corporate environment as well, wouldn't you say? Everybody thinks accounting is the irritating part. It's admin. There's no revenue stream that goes with accounting, and so it's very annoying to try to work on it when you feel like it's taking away time from your real work, or your family, or anything else you want to be doing besides accounting. Well, it doesn't earn us any money. That's exactly right. It's not a revenue stream, and so focusing on accounting feels like wasting time to some people. Here's why we should. Real-time financial data lets you make good decisions. If my client had been focusing on keeping her current accounting package up to date and learning how to get the reports out of that data that she needed, she would have been able to use her own accounting data to provide assistance in management decisions. You can make good decisions if you have good data, but it's only if it's current. If you don't keep it current, then you're really creating a historical database. It's a historical financial record, but that information only helps you when you're doing taxes. It doesn't help you in managing your business. So the way that you get dual use out of your accounting software is that you keep it up to date. If you have a consistent system and you do it consistently, it's a way that you can delegate. If you're the only person in your office that has all of the financial data in your head, if you're the one running around that generally knows the picture and you carry it as a cloud in your head, no one can help you. You can't wreck the car, You can't go on vacation. Nothing can break up your routine because you're the one that has to make all those decisions and you're the one that's carrying all the information in your head. If you have a system and it's consistent and usable, then you can train somebody and let someone else do accounting work or bookkeeping work or accounts payable work, and you can focus on where your expertise lies. You can focus on where they're paying you the big bucks to do your work. Let somebody else accomplish this task. But at least delegate it so that somebody is keeping it up for you and you can use the data. Organizing during the year, keeping it up to date means that when you get to tax time, you have everything's up to date and complete, and you don't have to suffer through that 2 weeks of, oh my God, I'm 6 months behind, right? I'm going to have to spend 2 weeks straight. I'm not going to be able to do anything else except catch up my books, reconcile my bank accounts. Oh God, and you want to kill yourself and you want to slit your wrist and you're up all night long, right? So if you do it in 5-minute increments every day, all year long, you're not taking all those 365 days of 5 minutes and doing it all in one piece at the end. Pain and suffering reduction during tax time is a good thing to get. So let's talk about some general guidelines about ways that you can improve this financial data for yourself. I'm going to just run through a little list. And a la David Letterman. Number 12. Ready to count down. This is the number one thing that you will ever hear from any accountant or financial planner ever. Your personal business financials should be separate. You'll be noticing there's 2 piggy banks here. That's because keeping that data separate makes it that much easier to record, and keeping the financials straight makes it really obvious to the IRS what is a business income stream and what is a personal income stream. It's really, really important to do that. If you don't do anything else financial related to your business, go out and get yourself a business bank account. If you're operating out of your personal bank account, shame on you. Fix it right now. Number 11. Decide who's going to handle your record keeping. The reason I say that is because the way that you set up the systems will change, whether you're going to do it or you're going to delegate it to somebody that actually works for you, or you're going to farm it out to a third party. So whoever's going to do your record keeping then drives some other decisions that you're going to make. So this is the first decision to make. Centralize your collection process. That's a very generic way to say, don't leave your receipts all over the house. Don't leave them in the car. Don't leave them in your luggage or your purse. Pick them up. Go and put them in one bucket. And literally, you can have one inbox. You can sit it on the corner of the desk, and everything that's a piece of paper that's about spending money or making money can go in that box. If nothing else, if you've ignored all your financial data for 6 months, and you get to the end of the year and you got to catch it all up, all the receipts will be in one place, at the bare minimum. But this will make it much easier for someone else to come behind you and work if they're working for you. It'll make it easier to find stuff when you need to go find it. And presuming that you start here and then you start processing through your accounting process, this stuff goes to accounts payable, this stuff goes to accounts receivable, this has got to go to the bank, whatever. But if it's all in one place, you can find it, or someone else can find it if you're not there. And those receipts that get wadded up in the bottom of your purse, this is a room full of mostly women, right? So the man equivalent is making the wallet extra fat, like stuffing all the receipts from all the lunches out and all the things you buy. And they just keep getting added in the wallet, and then every once in a while you go and grab it out of the wallet and shove it and dump it somewhere. So there's several organizers in the room, so I'm going to just get a little agreement about this. How many of you have gone to clients and found little squirrel stashes of receipts all over the house? Yeah, I'm seeing lots of nods. It's typical that we go to work with people and I start pulling out paperwork, and here's wad A. This is from January, and this is from about March, and over here is from June, and they're all over everywhere. And then you can imagine the scrambling when it's time to find a receipt because they got to return something, or oh my God, I have to file a quarterly tax return, or whatever they're trying to do, and you can't find anything anywhere. It's all over everywhere. This one thing will make your life better 1,000-fold. This seems really logical, doesn't it? A simple and easy bill paying system. And all I mean by that really is put all the bills in one place, come up with a way to keep up with your due dates, and then you can pay them on time. If you are an electronic geek, if you have an iPhone, you can put reminders in the phone. If you're sitting at a desk all day, you can put the reminders in your Outlook. If you are a paper junkie, you can put them in your calendar. It doesn't matter how you do it, but keeping up with the due dates however you can, however you prefer, and keeping all the bills in one place so that you can find them when it's time to pay bills. This is a really basic thing that people ignore, and I'm not sure why that is. But it doesn't have to be elaborate. It can be an expandable file folder that you slot them in by dates. It can be a second box on your desk that you put bills in. It can be a pretty decorated box. You know, if you're an interior designer, you can find some really lovely box and stick it in the box and close the lid. Put the checkbook in there. Keep pen and stamps in there. Do something very easy so that you don't lose track of your bills. It's a really basic thing, but it's really important for keeping you on track and not getting you in trouble with the people that you owe money to. This is a really good one for people that find the accounting annoying. If you like to, same thing about all the calendars, whatever calendar version you are, the best way to make yourself do accounting if you're not a big fan, and you know, frankly, I don't know very many people who are big fans, truly. There's a few tax geeks in the world that really love it, but most of the rest of us can't be bothered. So we have to come up with ways to do it. One of the ways is make an appointment with yourself. You make an appointment to go to the dentist. You make it 3 months in advance or 2 months in advance, and then you show up to the dentist when it's time, right? If you want to keep up current with your accounting stuff, make an appointment with yourself about it. Go through the process of getting on your calendar every Monday afternoon. If you're a morning person, do it in the morning. Do it when you're rested and fed. Don't do it when you're cranky and tired. Don't slot it in when you're exhausted, but make a regular appointment. Mine's Tuesday afternoon. I don't book any clients on Tuesdays. I do some web stuff in the morning, and in the afternoon I do this kind of work so that I know what I'm doing every Tuesday afternoon. Every once in a while it gets punted, but 90% of the time on Tuesday afternoon, that's what I'm doing. And if you schedule that with yourself and you get used to, this is when my appointment is going to be, you will put time in it. And every hour that you spend during the year is one less hour you're going to spend at tax time. That's the bottom line. If you think of it that way, every hour that you spend during the year is one more hour you get to sleep during tax time. You know, it's worth it. This is a real basic one. You need to keep a record of everything that is business related, where you are earning money or spending money. A lot of people think, well, you know, I just need to tell the IRS that I made that money, or I just need to tell the IRS that I spent that money and they'll believe me. Yeah, no, not really. So this is an important thing. Keep all the receipts that are tax related. And here's the converse. Don't keep receipts that are not tax related. When I go wading into people's offices, and I'm sure my organizing friends will back me up, in a fear that you're going to throw away an important receipt, you keep all receipts. And so then someone is paying me to throw away the Chick-fil-A receipt. Right? Like, what was the point? Did you really think the Chick-fil-A was going to be deductible? I don't think so. I mean, you can make some pretty basic judgments, calls, and thin out what you're saving before you put it in your collection box. If you have a question about whether or not it's deductible, you can then put it in the box and ask the question of the accountant later. But, you know, clearly when you go to McDonald's at lunchtime, you're not really going to deduct that, and you can wad that up after lunch and throw it away. It doesn't have to go in your wallet, it doesn't have to go in your purse, it doesn't have to go in the collection box. So keep the stuff that's business related, not the rest, and make sure that you create a receipt if you don't get one. Sometimes you go and you spend money and you hand over cash and they don't give you a receipt. If in that rare case, nowadays most of the time you get one, but in the rare case, jot a little receipt down and date it. I spent the money for this purpose on this time, here's my record, that's the best I got. It'll fly if you don't have 150 of them. Sometimes you have to create supporting records from scratch. This is an example of a mileage log because the mileage deduction is a really great one. I got like $4,000 deduction last year based on the miles, because the mileage rate is like 52 cents or 54 cents or something a mile now. So all the trips that I'm making to clients and speaking and all that stuff, I deducted, but there's no way to create that deduction and support it without creating a record from scratch. So this is just an example of what a mileage log look at. You have to give the day and where you're going to generate the mileage. I'll come right to you. So the total number of miles, you need to describe the business purpose and who you went to see. So you can't go, yeah, I drove about 5,000 miles this year. That won't fly. If you get audited, that's not going to fly. So this is an example of, if you create a record from scratch, there's really no other way to do it, but it will get you money in the end. The time that you invest in doing this all year will pay back on your tax return big time, and you'll have a big deduction for it. Yes, ma'am?
Is there an app for the phones that you recommend?
You know, I looked up some of those. I have not used them, but there are a lot of them out there. I did Google that to find out, and a lot of them had good reviews and same kind of thing. It creates a log basically, but you're going into the app and entering data as you go. But same kind of, it gives you the same results, and it looked to me like the reviews were pretty good. I didn't want to endorse any specific app because I hadn't used any of them. I'm not I like to do this at night after I get home. I don't want to try to keep that up in between a client. So that wasn't one that I thought lended itself to the phone. But they are out there. So if you just Google mileage log phone app, you get a big long list of them to try. The IRS has finally got on board. Isn't it exciting? They are okay with scans or other electronic records. So you can reduce the paper flow that you keep in your office if you have a good scanned or burned DVD copy, whatever. You want it needs to be easily readable, so you can't have a whole collection of bad scans. It can't be blurry or unreadable. They're okay if it's easily retrievable and it's readable. So as long as you can read it after you scan it, you're good. Which means that you can convert a whole lot of your paper delivery to an electronic version. The stuff that comes in your email is okay with them, as long as you save it and you can get it back to them again. But truthfully, in this electronic environment, the house burns down and all the records go with it. You can go back to every company and get, it's going to be painful, but you can go back to everybody and get duplicate versions of everything. So even if your computer crashed and all got erased, it would be okay. But if you can convert things to electronic, it'll save you that much less to have to manage in your inbox, in your collection box. Just create a collection box in your email or a collection box in your hard drive where you can go park stuff that you want to save for the IRS. Okay, this is for my clients. If you are overwhelmed, and a lot of people call organizers when they have reached the breaking point, like the office has finally crept into complete chaos and they panic and call us and say, help, right, she's laughing back there. She's gotten that phone call before. This is a process that is really overwhelming to most people. And if you're coming to the table after you've waited a really long time and it's complete and utter chaos in your office, then the best advice any organizer is going to give you is take baby steps and do it often and frequently over time to catch up. If you do 15 minutes a day, you will eventually catch up as long as you're consistent about doing it until you get to the end of the project. Sometimes this is the only way to get started. Make 2 or 3 files. Go and clean out one drawer. Go pull the receipts out of your wallet and filter the receipts and get rid of the stuff that's not business. If you just take little bitty baby steps when you're overwhelmed, you will eventually get there. You just have to get yourself started. And a lot of times it's just, you know what it's like when you have a really task that you just hate. Sometimes if you can just make yourself get started, then you can stay focused and get something done. And you just have to take that first step. And if you can only imagine doing 3 file folders at a time, then do 3 file folders at a time and go on to the next task and come back 2 hours later and do 3 more. If that's the way you can do it, fine. There's no magic solution as long as you just keep putting time in. And if you take nothing away from this, let me beat the drum again. Do it often. Do it often, and you will reap the rewards from that later. What am I trying to say here? Oh, see, that was it. Doing it in a timely manner means that you get the benefits out of it, right? You don't pay late payment fees, you find errors earlier so that you can correct them. And actually, who was it that told the story? It was Nancy that told the story. Yes, she told a story about going to a client and working in their office and opening mail, and it was a pile that was a couple of months old. And can I let you tell a story?
The bank statement?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a client who had several months of bank statements, personal bank statements that she did not open from the personal bank, and we finally opened them, and we started looking, and there, in a time frame of about 3 months, how much was it?
It's like $10,000 or something you
At
said.
least $10,000 was stolen out of her account. Somebody got in the routing number and was billing, their phone and whatever else. And luckily, the bank had to cover it or whatever, so she got the money back, but didn't even realize that much had been stolen. So really, all you have to do is open up and review it right away, if nothing else. Make sure nothing suspicious is on it.
Well, because you know where you're spending money, and it's real obvious when you know it. And the lesson from that was, she didn't open her mail for 2 months, and in the span of that 2 months, money disappeared, and she had no idea.
Right.
But if she was opening her mail once a month, if she was doing her accounting once a week, she would have known within a week or two that something was wrong, and been able to get right on top of it. So that benefit alone, you'll know when something's wrong and you can fix it in a timely manner, is really, really valuable to a business owner when cash flow is important, right? You don't want to make late payments. Keeping it up is really, that time is of the essence, is really a short way of saying doing it on time really benefits you in the end. How exciting. Every organizer will tell you, you don't have to keep everything forever. And a lot of the times when I'm working with somebody, the first thing that they say when they're standing in front of this paperwork is, I don't know what I can throw away. I'm so afraid. My mother's version of that is, if I throw it away, the IRS will come and put me in San Quentin. And I think it's a generational thing that she believes that the IRS equals jail. So for her, it's like, oh my God, you mean I can throw that away? They're not going to put me in San Quentin? No. There's a lot of steps between you and San Quentin. And, you can still throw some things away. So there's a little picture of shredding because you can shred. And managing your paper flow in the office, a big part of that process is reviewing and throwing away as much as it is putting it in and filing it up. You always expand the files, and people forget to go on the back end and review and take stuff back out again. It will sit there and age and like a big old rock in your file cabinet for forever, and the solution isn't to buy more file cabinets. Which clients tell me, do you think I need another file cabinet? No. I have never said, yes, run right out and get another 4-drawer file cabinet. Never has that crossed my lips, never. 5 years, never. It's always that they have not reviewed the data and emptied out the old stuff. So you can shred. And there's a few options. This is my favorite. If you go to Office Depot or Office Max, Staples, you can go into usually where their printing, their copier center is, and pay 69 cents a pound to shred. Put it in a paper bag, go hand it to them, stand there, they will put it in the big shredder, and an hour later your shredding problems will be solved. Totally worth the money. If you have a huge volume, and sometimes our clients do, they call us and they haven't cleared out their paper for 12 years, and we make a really big pile of shredding. Or they're super paranoid, and they are very nervous about that information getting out in the world, and so they make a big pile because they want to shred everything. If that's you can call professional shredding companies. They are catching on that there's lots of shredding in residential as well as corporate environments, and so they are going to people's homes. All the companies have different rules. We'll take 6 boxes. It'll $100 for a trip. Who knows? Call around. But if you have a big volume, you can get somebody to come to you with their truck and shred it if you want. The cheapest but most labor-intensive version is to get a large crosscut shredder. You know, you go to Home Depot and they cost $100 and you get a tall one. I have managed to kill one of those shredders on a job. It is possible because they're not really designed for huge volume. But I had one client that wanted me to stand there and shred 20 years of stuff, and I did it, and we burnt the motor out. We took an entire shred. You know, the shredder bags come in boxes of 25. We went through that whole bag, the whole box. We started into the next one, and somewhere in the middle, the shredder motor died. So, and it took a long time. It cost them a lot of money for me to shred their stuff, but they didn't want to leave the house. So, you can do that, but it's not my favorite way. We, however, have free shredding in January. And we're going to pause for a little commercial here. NAPO Houston is partnering with IKEA as well as U of H to do get organized an event. And at the end of January, the Saturday in January, we're going to do a shredding, recycling, get rid of your junk event. And so there's going to be a shredder. Southern Shred is going to be outside with their truck. So you can come with 6 boxes and drive up the driveway at IKEA and hand out boxes to the Magic Shred machine. But the fun part is that the machine has a camera. So you can come up to the truck and look at the camera and watch your stuff going through the shredder. Because somebody said to me at one point, how do you know it's really shredding it in there? Well, they have a camera for those kind of paranoid people who want to know that it actually went in the truck and it went through some teeth somewhere. So you can go watch it, which I thought was really fun. The last thing, if you're in over your head, seek the help of professionals. There's several of them in the room today. All the organizers, raise your hand. See, there's my friends. We're a posse.
A list of.
We'll be available after at the break, right? Okay, so this is how you do that. This is the local chapter. If you go onto this website, you can search by zip code for somebody in the Houston area. If you're out of the Houston area, then you can go to the national website and search for the whole country. Occasionally I get phone calls from out of state because people have relatives who live here and they're calling for their relative, and you know, dad lives in Chicago and his mother lives here, and you know, he's the one in charge of arranging and paying for help. So if you want to offer help to somebody else in your family that doesn't live in Houston, NAPO.net is the solution. Okay, so here is the question and answer time. Yes, sir.
You know, there's that thing called neat receipts.
I do know about neat receipts.
I was thinking of maybe getting in, and I saw some bad reviews online. What is your opinion about something like that, or are there other companies that do that?
What did the reviews say?
Just that it didn't scan properly, or I don't know, was uneven, or would scan it into the wrong category, or I don't know. It just didn't. I mean, they were mixed. Some people said I love it, and some people were like, it really sucks. It doesn't do it. So,
Okay.
well.
I would say that the bad reviews are user error, or probably a defective scanner. I have seen the neat receipts demoed. I have lots of clients that have them and use them, and I think it's a really effective tool. It's not without labor. It's not magic. I think people want the neat receipts. They want to be able to scan it and then the computer to do all the category work, and they just want to be able to scan it, and the computer is going to read your mind and make it go somewhere. You do have to go in and clean it up, the record. You have to go and categorize it yourself. You have to think through that process. So what it's doing for you is it's meaning that you can scan the piece of paper and throw the paper away immediately, but you're doing the same processing work with the paper that you would do it if you kept it in a paper file. You're still doing that same work. You're just doing it on an electronic level instead of on a physical level. But I think it's a really great tool, and if you like electronic stuff and you're comfortable in that environment, shredding it and working with all electronic files is the bomb. Do any of my compatriots want to make comments about neat receipts?
People, there's also the do snap.
Oh, SnapScan. Yeah.
Some people like those.
Well, isn't it a SnapScan product that they provide with the neat receipts? The scanner itself, I think, is a SnapScan product. Yeah.
Well, I was a user of that one system for a while, and I found out that it takes a lot of time to scan receipt by receipt. So I found a service on the internet. It's called Shoebox. I don't know if you take care of that.
Yeah.
Basically the same thing, or what you do is you put your receipts in an envelope. It's postage paid, you send it to them, they do the job for you, and they can return the receipts for you, or they shred them for you. And it's very affordable, $19 a month. And basically, if you do the math, basically you're paying the time, probably 3 hours worth of time of somebody to do the work for you. And it's really a nice application. So it's shoebox.com.
Shoebox.com, he said. And when you use it, then you get access to the files later, and then you can
Actually,
categorize them and do
you
stuff with them.
Online, and you have your screen where they show you all your receipts, the images, and they pre-classify them. And then all what you do is you click, if what it's doing is reading, let's say, if it says gas, they automatically put it in a gas category. And if it says, I don't know, Office Depot, it goes to office supplies.
So it does a guess categorizing for you first.
Well, it's kind of accurate for them. I mean, you still have to go and reclassify some of the mistakes, but it saves you a lot of time.
That's great. That's similar to what American Express does when you can go in and look at your statements online, and they do some basic, we think Office Depot should be office supplies. You know, they make some general guesses, and then you can edit them. That's a great idea. Thank you.
You know what their year-end?
I'm sorry, just to finish my comment. The good thing is that you can also classify by bank statement, by bank account, credit card number. That's a neat,
Oh, that's
it's
good.
a very neat application. And it's
Yeah,
really
we'll have to
fun.
look at that. Thank you. That's great. Yes, sir?
No, you were just saying that American Express, you mean at the year-end thing?
Yeah, well, no, actually, you can look at all the statements online. If you're paying online, if you have an online account with American Express, you can go in and pull up the bill, and you can classify and categorize within the bill online. So, and then for each bill that comes every month. So it gives you the ability to do some of the, while it's fresh in your mind, to do some of the categorizing work. Yes, ma'am?
For massive organizational projects, you've already said take baby steps.
Yes, ma'am.
But for clients who really have some critical business and residential, personal, kinds of issues, what are some preparatory steps that we can take? Because, for instance, my mother has saved everything from 1929 on. I've worked down to 1967. But I have a
Let's just give her a hand. Rock on, sister.
My mother, has a memory like an elephant. So when she says, honey, go upstairs, look in the closet on the left-hand side of the second shelf.
And you will
There
find
is-
the fill in
and
the
you'll
blank.
find,
Oh
and
my
it's
gosh.
there.